You got a president who changes his mind I would say every hour, I'd say every 30 seconds. So, especially when you have someone like that in one of the most powerful roles in the world, you're bound to expect some turbulence, aren't you?
Hello and welcome to our latest episode of Pioneers Pathway podcast. As always, you're joined by myself, Liam, and my good friend Sharia. How are you doing, Sharia?
All good, my friend. All good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So this one's going to be a quick episode, really. Obviously, we get through so much content, so many topics, and there's so much we always talk about from different things, right? There's what was our latest one? We've been speaking to about social mobility, personal development, and talking to different entrepreneurs, right? It's been quite an eclectic mix, right? Hasn't it, Sharia?
Absolutely, and we've also spoken a lot about what's been happening in the news, and we've touched upon many topics such as something so prominent as Heathrow's third runway, which has been debated for a number of years, and we spoke about the property tax in Spain. That's a bit more of a recent topic, but we've been covering lots of different things on our channel, and going forward, the plan is going to be to carry on doing that, isn't it?
It is, right? And it's an interesting situation, right? Because we're living in such a turbulent time. Things are changing all the time, right? We had the trade tariffs. We've had them being blocked by courts, then being reinstated, then being upped for in the steel industries, then there's a deal coming through with the British and the Americans, and then there's another deal. It changes every single day, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you got a president who changes his mind I would say every hour, I'd say every 30 seconds. So, especially when you have someone like that in one of the most powerful roles in the world, you're bound to expect some turbulence, aren't you?
Yes, and it also means that it's exciting times, right? Turbulence brings about change and it brings about opportunity, doesn't it? But it's sort of keeping up with all of that, which is the difficult part. Keeping up with all the changes.
It's keeping up with all the changes, and the way the markets tend to work is any sort of minor change gets reflected immediately. What sort of news could send the stock market into a complete frenzy?
I know.
So, there's so many other things, and then you have a reversal of a previous mentioned tariff, and then the stock market, looks at it more favorably. It's constant up and down.
One thing that's been quite key at the moment is the defense industries, right? There's been massive calls for rearmament with the war in Europe, the conflicts in the Middle East, also the sort of instability in Asia as well. You've seen in the UK they've invested they have invested and they will invest billions of pounds according to their plans into the defence industries, and you've seen markets soar in those sectors, right? And so finance is finance, but finance and markets depend on policy and depend on what's going on politically, right? So it's crucial to get a broader understanding of it all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you mentioned, defense in particular allows for all the politicians of their respective countries to, in a way, flex their muscles, right? So if they could, stamp their authority by being even maybe 5% more powerful, that could be a huge deterrent. That could put, fear in the mind of, another country. We see that all the time.
Pledge. It's been going on. I was just going to say sometimes it isn't actually the physical thing, it's the pledges, because, they will pledge £1 billion towards a certain project, but that project won't come about for maybe 5 to 10 years, right? But it's the commitment, it's the pledge, which brings credibility to their sort of status and their standing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we can go back to, the 20th century with USA and Russia. They had the whole, Cold War situation. It was just two countries, competing with each other on various different fields. So, defense in particular is one of the main fields where, the big nations tend to, flex their muscles. That's what they really want to show, that, okay, you can't touch me because I'm more powerful than you. So, there's so many different things. There's so many different ways. In a way, I've always called politics the battle of the egos, and I think that's the best way to summarize it. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's for politics. You can't change things overnight, but it's setting the tone and setting the standard for what you see. It's shifting the discourse, and it's pointing action in the right direction, right? Which is crucial. No, every politician wants to make hundreds of promises and keep to those hundreds of promises over the few years that that they're actually in power, right? But nothing changes overnight, but it's the direction in which you set it, and you set discourse, and you sort of set the machineries of government, which is important.
Absolutely. I mean, before you go for an election, you have to show that you really want to make a change. And that's why politicians, they mention that we'll, make improvements in healthcare, we'll make improvements in education. And during their tenure, they try to do as many things as they can and have that benefit, which they aim to do. But the issue is, you have a limited tenure. In the UK, it's 5 years. In the US, it's 4 years. Obviously, these projects tend to have a longer term than that. They could be 10 years, 15 years. So whilst you may pledge to do something that has a sort of a long-term vision, it also depends on whether say it's a different party that comes in power. Will they have the same objective? Maybe they might view things differently. So there's also these things that come into play as well. You might have a brilliant idea, but it's whether the other people have the same vision as you, and are they willing to prioritize it the same way?
Yeah, exactly. No, that was great. I know, to all our viewers, it was going to be a short recording today. But still, nonetheless, an important message, right? An important topic to discuss. So we'll see you guys very, very soon. We've got some exciting new topics arising. We're going to be chatting to some amazing guests from all across the world. So we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.